Center, single back is Gibbs. Goff turn, gives it to Jameer, to the end zone, touchdown Detroit Lions. That's the way you make a statement on the road on Monday night to start a football game, straight down the field to the end zone. It is 2nd and goal from the 1. Goff out of the gun, hands it to Montgomery, tries the left side, did not get in. It's going to be 3rd and goal from inside the 1. They say he did get in. Late call. There it is. Touchdown, Detroit Lions. Better late than never. Out of the gun. Jackson's got it. Running to his right. Wants to throw. Now being pressured. Ball's loose on the ground. It is recovered by Jackson, but it does not matter. That's Lions football. A 4th down stop by this team. Jackson tried to roll out, had a run pass option, and Jack Campbell was there to knock that ball loose. That is a big time stop by that defense. Lions show 4 across the front. There's the snap. Jackson back, looking right. Pressure comes. Jackson still looking. Stepping up. Gonna get hit. Gonna go down. Al-Quadin Mohammed got him. Goff out of the gun. Montgomery to his right. Jared's got it back and looking, throwing right side. Wants Amon-Ra. End zone. Got it. Touchdown, Detroit Lions. What a delivery that time by Goff, where only Amon-Ra with those late hands could pull it in. And the Lions are an extra point away from drawing even once again here in Baltimore. Jackson fakes the give to Henry, wants to throw, steps up, gonna get hit, gonna get spun down again. That's another sack by that Lions defense. That is Al-Quadin Mohammed for the 2nd time tonight. 96, that is big, man. Goff up under center, turns, gives, Amon-Ra flips it out to Gibbs. He's to the house, baby. Touchdown, Detroit Lions. Oh, that is beautiful. Goff hands it to Amon-Ra. Amon-Ra flips it to Gibbs, and the Lions have got the lead back. From the Lion 19, Jackson out of the gun. He's got it, wants to throw. Jackson looking, stepping up. Now he's going to get hit, going to go down. Sack back outside the 20-yard line. That football came out, but they're going to say he was down. That is another big play by that Lions defense. Trevor Nowaski with the sack. There's the snap. Jackson back. Jackson looking. Jackson stepping up, rolling to his right, being chased. Still looking. Now he's going to get hit, going down. Taken down again by that Lions defense. Derek Barnes, I see you, 55. That's a big-time play. The Lions stripped it away from Derrick Henry. What a big turn of events, and the Lions have got it now. Goff up under center. Montgomery the single back. Goff fakes to him, wants to throw, does downfield, wants Amon-Ra. Got him, made the catch inside the 40. It's a 1st down, but there's a flag down as well. It's a hold against Baltimore. That is huge. Center, single back is Gibbs. Goff turn, gives it to Jameer, to the end zone, touchdown Detroit Lions. That's the way you make a statement on the road on Monday night to start a football game, straight down the field to the end zone. It is 2nd and goal from the 1. Goff out of the gun, hands it to Montgomery, tries the left side, did not get in. It's going to be 3rd and goal from inside the 1. They say he did get in. Late call. There it is. Touchdown, Detroit Lions. Better late than never. Out of the gun. Jackson's got it. Running to his right. Wants to throw. Now being pressured. Ball's loose on the ground. It is recovered by Jackson, but it does not matter. That's Lions football. A 4th down stop by this team. Jackson tried to roll out, had a run pass option, and Jack Campbell was there to knock that ball loose. That is a big time stop by that defense.
1 minute here.
Lions show 4 across the front. There's the snap. Jackson back, looking right. Pressure comes. Jackson still looking. Stepping up. Gonna get hit.
All right, good morning. Welcome into the Rise or Grind Morning Show. Hope you all doing great on this Wednesday morning. We do have some new audio things going on today, so bear with me. Try to make it better. We'll see if it's better. But anyway, welcome in, man. It's Wednesday, so we start to flip that page. Moving on to the Bengals today. We'll still talk a little bit about what happened last week. Slowly migrate into the Bengals, which I'm just going to give you my hot take of the day. This should be a total Bengal beatdown. And everything that I dove into yesterday tells me that. It doesn't mean that the Lions are going to operate that way and go completely full tilt. But if we know one thing about Dan Campbell, man, the teams you're supposed to beat, he beats. If you go back and look at last season, the type of numbers that we put up against teams that were just bad football teams, hanging 40, 50 points, like that should happen against the Bengals. Honestly, it should. Trey Hendrickson is still somewhat of an issue, but without a defense that is supporting in nature, Trey is the only one that's really doing anything of substance, at least from my perspective. Obviously, Dan Campbell and the coordinators have a whole host of things for these guys to look out for. It's a professional football team. So it's not like wins are easy. They don't come easy in the NFL. And there are going to be some things that they're going to have to look forward to in stopping the Bengals. I got to get some lights on too. Shoot. But this is a game that the Lions should win and win easily. And I hate to even say that because that is mounting up to be what could be a trap game, right? Only if you believe that your Detroit Lions would ever take a day off. And I don't think that they will. So no trap game for the Lions. I know that people talk about it, and I think there's some big misconceptions with the word trap and game. A trap game would mean that your team is not paying attention, that your team is totally blowing it over, easy win, I can cruise through the week, I don't need to do any prep, and we're just going to go in and walk all over them. Yeah, it doesn't work like that in the NFL. So no trap for me. I still think that the Lions need to show up, and they need to do what they do well, which is play to a high level. So this morning, we're going to get into the Trey Flowers signing. Yeah, that's right. He's back. Trey Flowers, the worst contract ever signed by Quinn Trisha. He's back. No, I'm just kidding. Different Trey Flowers. But we'll talk about him for just a brief moment. He's simply a practice squad signing. Ronnie Bell is no longer with us. Lions bring back another linebacker. And the Dan Campbell interview, I think it's about 8 minutes long or so. We'll get into that today and break that down. The NFC North report, and then it's going to be a lot of videos today. We're going to recap the Lions media sessions and kind of break each one of those down. And then tonight, don't forget, it's Gripes and Hype Wednesdays. When we play on a Sunday, Gripes and Hype is on a Wednesday. If we play on a Monday, it'll be on a Thursday. So the week kind of gets moved up a day, or moved back a day, if you will. Let me just double check audio real quick. Give me, 10, 15 seconds here to double check audio. Be right back. All right, let's hit it, man. Let's get into it.
It's game time, Detroit, and you found the right place for the latest Detroit Lions news. So hop on in and take the ride to Super Bowl 60 with Rocked On Detroit Lions. Join Will Rock, Eric Rintamaki, and Riley O'Brien today on the Rise and Grind Morning Show. Good morning.
All right, and we're back. And we have lights. That's we're doing it, man. We're making it happen today. Making it happen. Like I was saying, I went through all of the Bengals stuff last night. I got all the slides ready, going through the offense, defensive keys for the week so I can make sure that gets out early. The quarterly report will come out today. I had a long day yesterday. Computer was getting attacked while I was live. So Eric, if you're listening, you probably lost all of your access to the sheets. So I don't know what was happening. I had something weird going on. I was in Canva and I had something telling me that it was trying to recognize my face, and that's never happened. And my screen went completely black. So weird stuff, just weird stuff yesterday. And just 2 weeks ago, we had the screens completely go white while we were live, and it killed the live stream. No idea what that could be. So, as it always happens, man, technology stuff, man, it's great when it works. It's not fun when it doesn't. Let me get the date changed. Today's a big day, man. It is a big day for many reasons. But October kicks off Breast Cancer Awareness Month. Obviously, you guys know, or a lot of you do, that this is it's a month that it's very important in my life. Having watched my sister go through breast cancer and Megan go through breast cancer, very tough stuff, man. And myself going through cancer at this, just after or kind of during at the tail end of what Megan was going through. So when I say I get it, man, I get it. I get it at a high level. And a lot of you out there that have struggled with it have watched family members, loved ones, wives, girlfriends, fiancés, whatever it is, battle breast cancer. It's vicious, and it totally changes the person. I know that a lot of you don't want to believe that it changes you, but it does. It changes you because of the way that your mind operates and thinks, the way that your body functions. So do me a favor and make sure that you support that loved one. Give them a little bit of patience, because whatever they're going through each and every day could be different. Breast cancer it's a nasty disease, and a lot of women have lost their lives to it. So if you still have yours, be very, very, very thankful that you do. So get out there and support somebody today. Whether it's a friend, like I said, a wife, a girlfriend, whatever, sister, get out there and support them today. Give them a call, send them a message on October 1st, and let them know that you're thinking about them. Because I am, and the Rockhound Cancer community is too, and wishing you guys all continued success in your battle against breast cancer. Continue to be a warrior. That's what this community is all about. We want to support others. So thank you for everybody that is donated to the Rockhound Cancer Foundation. We are getting so close to launching what will be an annual treatment option, or I'm sorry, not a treatment option, the annual checkup option to kind of get your first screening. And for those of you that are battling thyroid cancer is where Rockhound Cancer Foundation is headed. I do want to add more. It just got to add it in stages. But today is about breast cancer. So get out there, hug a loved one, send them a message. All cancer is bad news, says Detroit Grit. Absolutely. Wife going through brother, going through lung cancer right now, man. That's terrible. Todd Budry, wife passed away from breast cancer. You're in my heart today, Todd. Of course, all of you. I know a lot of you that have battled or have had those that have battled. Just keep on loving them, man. Just keep on loving them. Birthdays. So let's talk about birthdays for just a moment. If you have a birthday wish that you want to get out to somebody, if you have throughout the month of October, if you have a breast cancer wish that you want to get out to somebody, email it to mailbag@rockdown.com, or you can text it to 313-podcast. We'll do our best to put out a good message for you during one of the live shows. You can clip it, send it, whatever you'd like to do. But we'd like to be there to help you, help support others. And that's just a small way that we can help you do it. And would appreciate any and all messages that we receive to get out to others. So thank you. We have a couple that we're going to be doing already for birthdays, but this morning I wanted to add on the other side of that. Let's get into your Lions news, man. Let's kick it off. Trey Flowers. It's a nothing burger, man. This guy, it's a nothing burger. And what I mean by that is he's got a ton of experience, right? His grades are horrible over the last several seasons, but you cannot mistake experience for a grade by PFF. And what I mean by that is this guy has immense experience in the NFL. I don't care what his grade says. When you play with a team like the Detroit Lions and you have the coaching staff and the players around you that can help you, he'll play better, right? He'll play up to their standard. Doesn't mean that he's going to come in and knock it out of the park. Matter of fact, it doesn't even mean that he's ever even going to see the field. Right now, that he's exactly what Dan Campbell said he was going to be, and that is a practice squad body that hopefully he stays there. We do not want Trey Flowers in the game. If we have Trey Flowers in the game, we've got bigger problems. That means we've lost more guys. That means that Terry and Arnold's going to be out for a significant amount of time. But he does have a lot of experience. And at least, and he's also a massive corner, 6'3", 200 pounds. I mean, he's safety size, right? So he brings in some versatility from that aspect, that he does have a lot of size that the Lions can utilize. When he came into the league in, I believe it was 2018, he had a crazy good run defense grade. He didn't get in a ton of snaps that year. I think he got 16 or 20 snaps in his first season with the Seahawks. But he was known for his run defense. He was known just for being nasty and getting up there at the line of scrimmage. But he really hasn't done a whole lot throughout his career as far as his playing ability. He was a starter at one point for the Seattle Seahawks, but I mean, you're talking several seasons later. He's been barely hanging on, to a lot of different teams that he's gone through. Let's see, he's gone through the Seattle Seahawks, the Bengals, the Falcons in 23, the Jags in 24, the Colts in 24, and I think the Lions might be his first team this year. Might be his first team. I think you might. I'm not positive on that, but he's not somebody, again, that you can rest your hat on that he's gonna fill in for DJ Reed or anything like that. He's exactly what they said that they're bringing in, a camp body or a practice squad body to help them out in practice. Eric Hallett, I think, is going to be the guy that will give the Lions a little bit of help. He is versatile. He can play multiple positions. He did play fairly decent during the preseason games. He also had a few games that did not look great. Some big plays. Again, the Lions tend to give up some big plays, and I feel like he was responsible for his fair share of those in the preseason. Hopefully, we get some better news today when the first injury report of the week comes out that maybe TA will be back in a week and a half. Maybe he won't. Hopefully, we get some better news today. I do want to go through the 97.1, the ticket interview with Dan Campbell. And I think that we should probably just kick off with that right away. And let's listen to what Dan Campbell was talking about yesterday. Break it down a little bit. And we'll keep on moving through movie day, man. We got a lot of different stuff to go through today. Get you guys updated on all your news. Last thing on Trey. So he's 30 years old. Like I said, he was drafted by Seattle in 2018. Played for multiple teams. Throughout his career, he has 287 tackles, 4 interceptions, 5 forced fumbles, and 5 fumble recoveries in 95 games with 44 starts. Dan Campbell said yesterday that, I think that it would be, I think we would look for somebody for help. We may need somebody for help for practice at a minimum. And I think, again, that's exactly where he's at. Lions did part with Ronnie Bell, wide receiver that has been kind of hanging around with the Lions a little bit for a couple of seasons. Now, he came into the NFL in 2023 as a 7th-round pick out of San Francisco and had a relatively productive season his first year. He appeared in 17 games that season, served mostly on special teams, but added an unlikely scoring punch, according to Heavy.com, on offense. He made 6 receptions, 68 yards, 3 of those going for touchdowns. So his ability to find the end zone, I think that's why the Lions have kept him around. But in this year's roster, the Lions are just loaded. They're absolutely loaded with Dominic Lovett and Jackson Meeks. What are they, the 6th and 7th wide receivers on this roster? It's going to be really tough for a guy like Ronnie Bell to ever crack a roster, assuming the Lions won't suffer any injuries there, which we hope they don't. But Bell was, you could say, a coordinating move, but not really. I wouldn't say that he was a coordinating move to bring in Trey Flowers, but possibly because they brought back Ty Summers, which has me a little bit concerned. Why are we bringing back another linebacker? Is just a simple move for the Lions to add some depth? I've got to wake up. To add some depth to this roster? Or is the injury to Zach Cunningham going to linger a little bit? That's what has me a little bit concerned about today's injury report. I'm thinking that maybe you bring this guy back in, former Packer. He was with us a little bit, obviously during camp and that, to kind of break down where he's been. Summers joined the Giants practice squad a couple of days after being released by the Lions this year. They did call him up a couple of times before officially signing him to the active roster. He's 6'1", 241 pounds. He's played 16 games with 2 starts last season, spent most of his time on special teams, which is exactly where I think he would be with the Lions. He has 29 combined tackles, a tackle for a loss, and a pass deflection. So it's not like he hasn't done anything in the league. It's just, I don't think he's done enough to stick on a roster yet. Yeah, I'm not real sure. I'm not real sure where this is headed for Cunningham. I have zero info on Cunningham. This article here was saying something about I guess it was really saying a bunch of nothing. But talking about Cunningham's hamstring injury. Hamstrings are funny, man. They can linger. And I guess that's where I'm going to put this. I think that Summers he's going to be that security blanket for Cunningham. Should Cunningham have to miss some more time? Crispy Nuts, what are we talking about? What a name. What a name. What are we talking about? Who are we talking about? Talking about Ty Summers. Injury to Zach Cunningham. Obviously missed the game this last week. Wondering if it's going to take a little bit of time to get him back. And that's why the Lions brought back Ty Summers. They made a coordinating move with Ronnie Bell. Josh Paschal, no real news on Josh Paschal yet. I see someone was just asking about that. No real info. I'm a little concerned about Paschal and why it's taken so long. It could be nothing, but man, you would have thought that he would have been back by now when Dan Campbell said he'll be back before week 1. And then we get closer to week 1 and it's going to be a little bit longer. Like, what's going on there? We need Paschal back. I mean, imagine getting Aleem McNeil and Paschal back at the same time. Or even relatively soon, right? It's going to be hard to fit them on this roster right now when you look at the guys that you don't want to lose, guys that you don't want to move off of. But hey, that's just the way it works. Maybe he stays down and, if the Lions do suffer another injury, he stays down until the Lions absolutely, can make room for him. I just don't see that as being a plan. He's too good. He's too good, man. He was playing pretty well last year. All right, let's get into the 97.1, the ticket interview with Dan Campbell. We'll break it down as soon as it's done. I try to make a little slideshow during the interview. We'll see if it works.
Not all the news coming out of the weekend was great. We'll talk about that game, but you lose DJ Reed for now, the possibility of no Terrion Arnold. How does that affect your defense, and who are you leaning on to step up in their absence?
Well, anytime you lose players that have really helped you up to this point, very dependable players, somebody like Reed, and then even with TA, what he's been doing for us, it can have an effect, but that's also why we have, we have a 53-man roster and we have the 16 on practice squad. And look, this isn't our first rodeo. So next man steps up. We can't miss a beat. We'll adjust. We'll make sure that we help our guys out. We don't just throw them out there without any help, and we spread the load throughout the whole team and the 3 units. So we'll be fine.
We play your locker room speech every Monday for people, and I thought something stood out. You were honest with the guys. You said it wasn't good enough in a game you won by 24 points. I know you're normally, hey, just find a way to win guy. How do you juggle that when you're talking to your guys?
No, well, I mean, I just think look, first of all, we're never going to apologize for a win. They're hard to come by. It takes a lot. There's a lot of preparation, hard work, things that go in it, everything the players lay into it. And so, man, we're going to take any win that we earn, because every win you've earned it, no matter what it looks like. You found a way to get it. But it's also important to note that, man, there's things that we can be better at. And, if you are facing a different team, if you're not hitting on all cylinders and you're not playing clean football across the board, that can bite you. That can come back and get you. So that's all. It was just, I wanted to make sure that I got that out, but I'm proud of the way that we went in there and we fought and we did what we had to do. We talked about defense, special teams, and then and scoring touchdowns on offense, and we accomplished every one of those.
Offensively, your numbers against the defense like Cleveland are not going to, in general, be as productive or as high as you are against playing against some other defenses. What did you see from especially your offensive line, and let's throw the tight ends in there as well, about playing against that front seven that Cleveland? What was it that stood out to you that they did well, and what needs to be improved upon?
Well, I thought we kept the line of scrimmage clean. That was one thing that I thought we did really well. And you going against an opponent like that, that's what always shows up on Cleveland's tape. You watch that D line, and they're always playing into the backfield of the opposing offensive lines. And I thought doesn't mean we didn't have some TFLs, those popped up, but it wasn't necessarily we're giving up all this penetration in the backfield. So I thought we kept the line of scrimmage pretty clean. And I thought we protected the quarterback, man. I thought the job collectively those guys did helping each other out was big. I thought, Penei Sewell, you can't say enough great things about him. I just thought he played an outstanding game once again. And then Decker over there, man, I thought when they had their one-on-ones, they took care of business in the pass game over there. And we asked a lot of those guys, and both of them really came up in a big way for us. So that was good to see, and really it was kind of a dirty game, man. That was the kind of game it was going to be, a little bit dirty, a little bit gritty and grimy, and I thought those guys did a heck of a job. You grind out over 100 yards against that defense, and that's a good thing. Now, is it up to our standards? No, but we'll take it.
Talking to Lions head coach Dan Campbell, was looking at the snap counts on defense, and you had 3 linebackers playing like 90 to 100% of the snaps. Some of that is Derek Barnes and the versatility. What does he unlock for you guys with your defense?
Yeah, he allows us to do so many things. Because really we can flow in and out of base or / nickel with him. He can play a little bit of everything. And really, Alex as well. I mean, you can float in between base defense and nickel with those two guys because of their, the blitz ability, the pressure ability, playing the run, and then playing in space and coverage. But as far as Barnes, he can do all of those, and then he can play DN for us and some of these rush packages. So I just feel like, man, he's gotten better and better every game this year. He continues to trend the right way, and man, he's been a force for us, and so he does. He allows us to do a ton of different things.
I know Jared talked about the interception that he threw. That aside, the level of play that he has and the unselfishness of being able to ground a ball, but just his mental capacity to run and operate this offense is right now, is he one of the best that you've seen at the mental side of this game?
Yes. It's impressive. I'm thankful that I've been able to be a part of this with him now since 21, because I've been able to witness the growth. I've seen it firsthand, and I mean, the guy is the way that he processes the information that he's given, that he gives it to the players, that he sees the defense, that he makes alterations. He audibles into things to get us in a perfect play. I mean, it really is now having like a coach, running your offense. He's out there on the field, and that's what we've stepped into with him and what he's done, which that's a credit to him, man. He works through it. He wants to freaking make corrections. He wants to be perfect. He wants to know the why. He wants to know, how can I be better? What is a better check here? What is the right thing to do? And he just continues to learn and grow, and here we go, man. I mean, he's in the prime of his career. He's played for a number of years, and he continues to get better. He continues to learn, and I mean, that's the essence of what we do in this league, man. Whether you're a player or a coach, you should always keep trying to learn and grow and get better. That's where he's at, man. And then the accuracy that he has goes. Is icing on the cake. I mean, you can run this offense and you can make the throws he can make. It's just, I'm glad we got him. I can tell you that.
Does he have more of an edge to him this season? Like, I know yesterday he was asked about, does this prove any questions about the offense? He said, no, keep the questions coming. Like, he seems to be a little feistier now.
I think we've all been feisty for 3 or 4 years now. So no, I don't feel like he's any more feisty than normal. He's competitive,
Last year it was all about, and I know we just talked about the injuries in the secondary. Last year it was all about the injuries up front. I know at some point you're going to start the clock on Aleem McNeil. He mentioned a couple of weeks ago that he was 93, 94% ready to go. When do you start that clock, and how is the progress that you've seen for him? What are you hearing? When might you start that clock?
Well, Mac, the other day I was talking to him, and he said, Coach, when I'm 94.6% ready, you tell me, I'll let you go, man, and you guys can put me out there. And I said, all right. So yesterday he said, Coach, I'm 94.6% ready to get after this. So I said, all right, well, let's start his clock. So that's what we're going to do. I don't know how he knows his body that well, but he does. So
where do you get these percentages from? Where does he?
Dude, he's unbelievable, this guy. Listen, he's been trending the right way, and it's been us being conservative with him, making sure that we're smart about this. The guy's put in the work. I mean, he's looked phenomenal. I mean, really, we were talking about, Fish and those guys were talking about in August how good the guy looked, and that he may be ahead of schedule. It's just this thing's taken off, and his strength is really good in the knee, and that's the biggest thing, is getting the strength and flexibility back in the knee, and he got that pretty quick because of the work that he put into it. And so it's just been about, man, let's make sure we're smart with this, that we reached that minimum threshold as to, okay, man, we know this thing is healed, it's ready, the flexibility's right, the strength is right, he can protect himself and produce. And so he's there, we feel like.
I think there's a player that I don't know that we asked you about in the preseason, and I don't think we've asked you about it since the season started, and it'll be great to get Aleem McNeil back, but describe to us what you're seeing from Tyleik Williams as a rookie up front and the job he has done to this point in the season.
Well, he's gone about his business. it's been quiet production, and what I mean by that, I mean that in a good way. You know, he's another one of these guys that does so many things that maybe not everybody sees. Like, you can't move the guy in the run game. You know, between he and Reeder, you're not moving those guys. But he does a ton. He's got really good feet. He plays with leverage, strong hands, and man, he can bottle up the freaking runs, man. And then he's got sneaky push in the middle. He can get an edge and push. And in the pass game, play action pass, some of those. And so he's been a guy that, man, he continues to get better. And there again, you don't always see it in the stats, but he's doing so much that's helping all these other guys with their stats. And that's what this game's about. That's what defense is about. It's the unselfishness, and he has to do a lot of this dirty work, and he's doing a damn good job with it.
Going back to Aleem just for a second, it's a 21-day window. So would it be safe to say you guys are trying to get him back before the bye week then?
Yeah, I mean, I think we're going to see if we can do that and how comfortable he is. Really, so much of it is about what does he look like, how does he feel.
Right.
I think it would be nice to try to do that if we could, but we're not going to, you know, say for sure, like, all right, this is when you're playing. There's no doubt about it. Let's just see where he's at.
And then the last thing I wanted to ask you about is you guys don't have these letdown spots. Like, Cincinnati did not look good last night. You guys don't overlook opponents. Where does that come from? I know you talked about it's hard for these guys to escape social media, but you've got a resilient group. Where does that come from?
It's our guys, it's our players. You know, these guys, since we've been here in 21, you know, the foundation of this team and every group that comes in after that, they know what the standards are, man. And we got competitive guys. The work, the preparation means something to them, and the competitiveness on Sundays. And it doesn't matter who you are. It doesn't matter who you line up across from us. We're going to go play, man. And we're trying to win. We play to win. So that's just the guys' mentality. That's our players. And when it comes from them, good things happen.
Emphasis with Cincinnati? What is it?
The emphasis is to play clean football in all three phases and win the freaking game.
Love it.
All right, good stuff by Dan Campbell at 97.1 The Ticket. Credit to them in their interview, like they do every week on Tuesday mornings with Dan Campbell. Oh, a lot of good stuff in there. Really good stuff, actually. Let's just start back at the beginning. Bringing in some new guys this week. You know, Dan was saying that, you know, if you got to get some guys in the game, you got to bring some new guys in. Some guys that are going to get more time than maybe they haven't in you know, this season so far. How do they handle it? Well, they're not going to let the guys go out there and just sink or swim, which is what I did to all my salespeople. You just go out and you sink or swim, right? Show me what you got. You're either going to paddle, or you're going to drown. One way or the other. Tells me who you are, but you can't do that during the season. You can't. They have to go out to win. And you have to be very careful with the guys that you put out there and their level of readiness to compete alongside some of the other guys. If you're not playing to the level, not only will you drag the team down, but there's an injury opportunity. There's a whole host of things that can go wrong in a hurry. Dan's saying, man, we can't miss a beat either way. You put some new guys out there, they can't miss a beat. They will adjust, spread the load, which I think is a great usage of the term, right? They're trying to give everybody on the team more of an opportunity to have a little bit of impact. So whether it's special teams, offense, defense, it's going to take all of us. But now we might need a little bit more emphasis of special teams this week because we're a little bit light on the defense. It's going to take a little bit more from the offense this week, which I don't know how you can get more, you know, out of 34 points per game because we're a little bit light in the defense this week. You know, last week they wanted special teams to play better, and they got it. They let Khalif kind of run loose, and he got a return for a touchdown. So I'm expecting that same attitude, right? That same mantra this week with the Lions is do what you can to get these guys ready, but maybe adjusting the scheme a little bit. Maybe you're not putting as much into it this week. Maybe you're dialing things back just a little bit. But these guys are pros, man, and they can do it. So I expect nothing less. 5 seasons of Dan Campbell. I mean, why would we expect anything less than what they've been doing the last 2.5 seasons? I certainly really don't. I don't expect anything less than the best football out of these guys. Dan Campbell was very honest in his assessment in that post-game press conference. What's his name? Costa? He kind of asked him the question, like, how do you juggle that? Right? You're telling the guys, that it wasn't good enough. And then throughout the week, you're telling them, you're good enough, right? And that you could do it and you can make it and we're going to be just fine. That has to be somewhat of a balancing act it has to be for a coach, right? You got to break them down, you got to pick them up. You got to break them down, you got to pick them up. That is very tough to do. If you're in a position of having to train people, or if you're in a management position, you probably understand that at a little bit more of a higher level than most people, because you have to, praise the people that work for you, and then at the same time tell them maybe they're not doing some things good enough and they need to get better at a few things. It's the same balancing act. The difference is these are young guys, right? Impressionable minds, high stakes game, billions and billions of dollars at stake each and every week. It's different, right? It's different. These guys play a game that less than, 0.5% play in this league, play in this world, right? Clean things up was a big emphasis for Dan. Look, I thought they played well against the Browns. They left some stuff out there. They absolutely did. But I feel like they played pretty well in all phases. I thought the offensive line played a lot better than what PFF is saying that, that they played. According to PFF, they played terribly. Outside of Penei Sewell on the offensive line. Dan says they kept the line of scrimmage clean. They protected JG. Sewell was the highest graded offensive lineman. Decker, Mahogany, and Ratledge, according to PFF, were just absolutely terrible. But you didn't hear Dan Campbell say that. He thought that Decker played pretty well. I thought that he did too. They didn't give up any sacks. So here's my question to PFF. And I've got the same question about Tyleik Williams. Christian Mahogany, 39.4 overall. Taylor Decker, 40.4 overall. Tay Ratledge, 46.5 overall. Those are the bottom 3 of 4 on the bottom. Jamison Williams was bottom 5, which he belongs there. He didn't have a good week at all. That one makes sense to me. Pass blocking and run blocking grades for these guys were just non-existent. I mean, David Montgomery had a better pass blocking grade than all of them. Matter of fact, you could combine just about any 2 of the 3 of Ratledge, Decker, and Mahogany's pass blocking grades, and David Montgomery was still better. Look, they didn't give up any sacks. Combined, those 3 guys gave up 3 hits and 5 hurries against the number 1 defense in the league. I don't understand the grades, but again, this is why every single week I try to remind people PFF is a very small part of this. You're trusting in somebody else's eyes to give you a grade. And quite honestly, the more you learn about PFF, the more questions I have. They have a lot of young people that have never played the game of football, have never coached the game of football, watching these games and giving out grades. Now, unlike Next Gen, which uses chips in the shoulder pads, I think the helmet, I think the football, to kind of shape their story of what happened in the game, I don't trust that either. You know, you can't tell me. I'm going to get myself going on a tangent. I'm going to try to keep this brief. You can't tell me that having a chip in my shoulder pads and in, let's say, the offensive lineman next to me, that we're double teaming somebody because we're in the same proximity. And that's what happens quite often. I'll go and look at double team, triple team stats, and the numbers are crazy. And then you go and watch the game, and there wasn't one triple team. There might have been a chip. There might have been a little bit of a chip with some dip in a hip, but there was no triple team. You know, a double team is when two guys converge and engage at the same time and stay engaged. You know, one guy may break off to pick up another assignment, but it's very clear defined rules for what these things are. And so next gen isn't 100% either. So take this stuff with, you know, a grain of salt. We use PFF every day. We use next gen every day, among other, 10 other sites that we have subscriptions to. And I think when you combine a lot of them together, you get a pretty good idea. But, if you don't watch the tape, don't even make a comment based on PFF. And that's what I see a lot out there in social media is people make comments about how players play. But I always ask the question, did you actually go back and rewatch the game and then make that assessment? Would you make that same call? Do yourself a favor and take 60 minutes and rewatch it if you have the time to do it. I think it'll open up your eyes. I really do, because I thought they played incredibly well for what they had to do, this week against the Browns. And so did Jared Goff. I think he played exceptional. He moved fairly well. I think that Morton put him in a position to win. Jared Goff audibled, a few times. I don't know how many times exactly, but there was at least a few in there that he put this team in a better position to win, or, he would get rid of it, right? He would dirt the ball and just get rid of it. So all of that stuff, man, it takes a high level of understanding, and that's what Dan Campbell was talking about next, is the mental acuity of Jared Goff and why there's such a difference between quarterbacks in this league. There's some quarterbacks that thrive and drive their careers off of pure physical talent. And you can get away with that for a little while. You can. But as you age in the league, that physical talent starts to dwindle, right? And then teams kind of figure you out a little bit. Lamar Jackson, huge point of reference here. Like, if there was case law developed around Lamar Jackson over the last few weeks, man, his case would be at the top of the list for what the Lions did. And forgive me, who did the Ravens just play? Who did they just lose to? I forget. Who did they just lose to? He looked terrible in that game. Was it the Chiefs? Chiefs. So the blueprint, obviously the Lions put out there. It's nothing new. The Lions just executed at a high level. You can figure guys out over time, and that's always been my biggest knock on the mobile quarterbacks is, they're going to win you some games that maybe a non-mobile quarterback can't. But if you do the test of time, I will take a guy that is sharp and has the mental acuity, has that nerd value. They should have a metric for nerd value. Someone that is extremely intelligent over anyone that has just the physical part of the game. And I'm not saying Lamar doesn't have the mental acuity or that he's not a smart individual. He absolutely is. But I would say Jared Goff, from my opinion, is probably the smarter quarterback. Simply look at how Goff plays. I mean, look how he gets these guys in a position to win. I don't think that there's another quarterback out there playing to his level right now. There's a reason why he's been at the top of the charts in just about every category for the last 3 seasons. Like, that's not an accident. It's just doesn't happen by chance. when you're as consistent as Goff is, there was someone in the chat earlier that said that, Jared Goff, not very, and I'm not picking on you, I'm just using this as a reference, that Jared Goff is not very, accurate with the deep ball. Well, I think there's 2 or 3 maybe sides to that coin. One, someone else mentioned, if you're under a lot of pressure, I wouldn't expect you to be very accurate either. Good point. Number 2, if maybe there's 4 sides to this. If your receiver's not running a great route, it's going to look like you made the mistake as the quarterback. J-Mo ran some bad routes this weekend, right? Jared Goff threw a bad pass. So combined, they're both responsible for different plays. But by and large, Jared Goff has been one of the most accurate quarterbacks downfield. Early in J-Mo's career, it looked like it was all Jared Goff, and it wasn't. Oh, J-Mo's too fast. He outruns Jared Goff. Jared Goff doesn't have an arm. I will kindly, gently remind you to go back to the first couple of weeks and look at Jared Goff standing at the 50-yard line, and he just flicked it. He didn't step into it. He didn't take 2 steps forward. He dropped back. He landed on his back foot and flicked it to J-Mo for, what was that, a 42 or 52-yard touchdown, whatever it was. Goff has an arm. He just has a little bit longer of a windup. He doesn't have a super quick release, but that doesn't mean that he's not accurate. I think he's one of the most accurate throwers of the football in the game. And there's evidence of that. For instance, go back to the Ravens game. Absolutely. Go look at some of those plays where Jared Goff is navigating the pocket. He's moving up, he's moving back, he's going left, he's going right, whatever he has to do. But he'll move up, step up into that pocket, that lane. He was going to the left. He would turn and get his body back towards Sam Laporta on a play that he should not have completed. Absolutely shouldn't have completed this. I don't even know how he found Sam Laporta on this play. Threw a perfect ball. I mean, perfect. Jared puts the ball where nobody's going to catch it but the receiver or nobody at all. Yeah, he makes mistakes every once in a while, like every quarterback does. But by and large, man, I think that Jared is one of the best, one of the brightest, sharpest quarterbacks in the game. And that's why I'll go back to what I was saying earlier. I would take the smarter quarterback, the intelligence factor, over just pure physical talent, because we know 2 things are going to happen. Your physical talent is going to fade over time. Maybe it's not 3-4 years. Maybe it's 7-8 years down the line. But look at Lamar Jackson. Has he won a Super Bowl? No. How many Super Bowl appearances does he have? He has 1, right? I think he has 1. No, it says 0. Is that correct? They went to the AFC Championship in 23, the same year the Lions went to the NFC Championship. They lost to the Chiefs. So he has not been to a Super Bowl? Well, there you go. There's your answer. There's your answer. If he's that good, right, then why is he not going to the Super Bowl? He's had the teams. He's had the coaching. He's had the defense. Why is he not going? Why has Jared Goff been to one? You can't tell me that team that Jared Goff, led to a Super Bowl was better than what the Lions have today, because it certainly wasn't. Patrick Mahomes on the other side has the physical gifts, physical talent. But if you've listened to anything Kelsey has said about him, he's a nerd, is what Kelsey calls him. He's an absolute nerd, and he means that in the kindest, gentlest way, right? That the guy studies the game unlike anybody else. He's constantly, trying to get better mentally and get prepared. And I think that's why you're seeing Patrick Mahomes do what he did, in the earlier part of his career. Now, his physical side is starting to dwindle. You can't tell me that Patrick Mahomes is the same today that he was back in, 2017, 2016, whenever he came into the league. He's not the same. He doesn't run the ball as much, right? That's the last thing that he wants to do. He'll scamper around and scramble, but he doesn't seem to take the ball north as much. He's going east and west a lot. He's trying to look downfield. And he makes some incredible plays because he has the arm talent to do it. But his legs are just not the same. He does not want to take the hit. Josh Allen's another one. Corey Patterson brought up in there. Has none, but people don't seem to bring up that he gets all the praise in the world. Another great example. So there's 3, right? And out of all those 3, those are the top 3 mobile quarterbacks in the league right now. Only one of them has done anything with his career. And I guarantee you, if you go slice this whole pie up, man, you're going to start saying, okay, well, he had Travis Kelce this whole time. He's had Andy Reid the whole time. He's had consistency in the offensive coordinator for a large amount of time. But really, it's Andy Reid. I mean, he's your offensive coordinator. Let's be honest here. He's an offensive-minded guru. He's an absolute genius. Has had great defenses. So only one of them doing that at a high level. But if you go back and look through the history, and I've done this before, because we've gotten into this argument a couple of seasons in a row where very early into Jared Goff's tenure with the Detroit Lions, it was, man, why do we have this guy? Why forget Jared Goff? We need to go trade for Lamar Jackson. Remember when that was being floated around? We need to go trade for Lamar. We need to go spend 50, 60 million 4 years ago on Lamar. And I was like, no way. Nope, we got the right guy. And I've always said we had the right guy. Again, if you look at the history, and I don't have all the information in front of me, I know it. Almost every single Super Bowl has been won from a pocket quarterback. Patty Mahomes is one of the very few that is not only won one, but won multiple. But if you go through the history of the NFL, yeah, you could say like Steve Young or Joe Montana or, those guys back then that some of them were mobile, but they weren't dual threat guys. Steve Young, maybe. But these guys weren't necessarily dual threat like they are today. Yeah, they ran around. And, maybe I'll make this a segment in a week or so when I could dig into it again. Not that I want to create this whole argument again, but I'm good with Goff, man. I've always been good with Goff. And like Dan Campbell said, he's in his prime. And it's going to get much better before it ever gets worse. Moving on to Elite McNeil here. It's perfect timing. The other day when they were talking about starting the clock with Ali McNeil, I had mentioned I felt that week 7 was probably the best week to get him out there, get him out for a game, and then you have 2 weeks before he needs to get ready for his second game. Which, I think that would be the perfect timing. We'll see what Dan Campbell and the team does, but that at least gives him plenty of rest afterward to get his body right. And it gets him out there to, in a couple of weeks, he gets to practice, he gets to hit some guys. A slow ramp up period between now and that Monday night game. Get in, maybe he gets 25% of the snaps, and then after the bye week, he's ready to rock and roll. I'm just going to throw the caution out there, and I want to be wrong on this. I want to be wrong. I always say that the first year back is kind of a throwaway year. That's usually for your wide receivers, your running backs, your quarterbacks, the big time impact players, the skilled position players. Defensive tackles, it could be different, right? Defensive end, I think it could be different too. But we'll see what happens with Aleem. I'm not expecting him to come out and be a game wrecker. But you know what? He is. And Dan Campbell's expecting it. And so when it happens, I'm not going to be surprised. I won't be surprised one bit. Let's see. Wait. What's this? So, hold on. Let me back up. 97.1 and Woodward Sports say we need to get rid of JG. When did they say that? Or are you saying they've been saying that? Because they were. They've always been. They've always been talking that trash, man. It's the same trash that they were talking about the Tigers at the beginning of the season, saying that they were never going to do anything this year. And that was like early in spring, that the leadership didn't do anything. And I said, like, they haven't even played a game yet. Like, just wait. You'll see. They'll be fine. Well, they got out hot. And then they started to fall apart a little bit. Or a lot, honestly. The epic collapse. But hey, they beat Cleveland, man. I think they're up, 1-0 now? So you just can't always trust what you hear. You just slow your roll a little bit. Hot takes are great, but I think intelligence and facts are much better. Honestly, anybody can have an opinion. Anybody can blow some hot air. Hell, I do it every day, but I try to do it with some facts. Tyreek, man. So my next biggest gripe, like for tonight, one of my gripes would be, why is Tyreek getting so much hate? It's like the Lions fan base feels like this guy is supposed to come in and get all these sacks. That's not the case. Like, yeah, he can. Eventually he will. He's 4 weeks into his professional career. It's not expected for him to just jump out of the box and start sacking the quarterback. And you know what? That might not even be what his assignment is on every down, right? His assignment may just to be able to eat up the double teams, which he's getting double teamed quite a bit, and to shut down the run game, which is what he does. But what have I always said about the guys like DJ Reader? The quiet production, like Dan Campbell said, I've been saying that for years. That sometimes you have guys that come in that are not going to be all over the stat sheet. But if you watch the tape, you'll realize, wow, Tyreek didn't just take on 2 blocks, but he crashed the line down and forced that ball to what was going to go through the B gap on the other side. Now they bounced it to the outside, and Amik Robertson or Brian Branch came in and shut the door. Right? So unless you watch film, you won't see that. But instead, you look at PFF and you say, man, he got no tackles. He got no sacks. No hurries, no hits, no nothing. Tyreek sucks. That's what people say. No. Go watch the film. You'll see something different. And I wish that I could just share the film. Maybe I just need to do another channel that I don't care about. And we'll do some film study on that. Because it'll always get hit with copyright. Even though I have this stupid license that says I can use 90 seconds of NFL film, it still gets hit, even when I send in the license. It's part of having that NFL media credential. You're allowed to use some stuff, but yeah, they don't care. Oh, got your message, Trace. Thank you. Yeah, 60 likes out of 104 people right now. We are so close. But I'm going to go ahead and dial it back for you guys a little bit. Oh, I already did. Oh, the ads have been way down today. Way down. You get an ad like every 12 minutes is what it says. That's pretty good. So when you watch things like, which I don't really watch Woodward or anything, but it's like consistent ad reads, right? Consistent commercials. You don't get that with this. And I'm not making any comparisons or anything. I'm just saying, like, we literally will talk for almost 2 hours straight. You might get 5 minutes of ads in BS throughout 2 hours. Other channels, you'll get 60 minutes of stuff and then maybe 60 minutes of conversation. Big difference. Big difference. Like the 2 hours could easily be a 4-hour show if we filled it full of ads and ad reads and everything else, which we will have some. Now that I'm working with the Believe Network, they're going to bring in some new sponsors and some other things for us to kind of help the cause. So I'm looking forward to that. The Dan Campbell Fight Club, man. Let's get into that next. So in the beginning of the season, I highlighted that one interview. I think it was on XM radio where they were talking about Dan Campbell when he was playing, that coach wanted him just to go stir stuff up, man. They're having a bad game and they wanted Dan to go stir stuff up. And so he goes in and he starts, fight, and the whole, both teams start going at it. And it was hilarious listening to this, that sometimes you just need a spark, right? You just need some energy. And I guess Dan Campbell was the enforcer, and that's what they had him go do. So yesterday there was, I guess, a question that was asked, maybe it was over the weekend, to Coach Shanahan of the 49ers, Kyle Shanahan. And the question was, who could take Robert Saleh in a hypothetical fight? And the reason why this came out is Liam Cohen and Robert Saleh almost went at it after the game, post-game, when they were on the field. And Cohen got up in his face and saying, keep my name out of your mouth, because Saleh was saying that he was a sign stealer, which he did say it was legal, right? He was doing it the legal way, that he's really good at stealing signs, really good at identifying signs. And it just got blown up way, way, way big. And Liam Cohen was just pissed. And so he gets in Saleh's face. And then afterwards, Kyle Shanahan was asked that question. Here, let me read through this a little bit. Who wrote this? Christian Boer wrote this. So last week, 49ers defensive coordinator Robert Saleh made a comment alluding to the Jacksonville Jaguars coach Liam Cohen stealing defensive signals. This drew the ire of Cohen, who told the coordinator to, quote, keep my name out of your mouth, end quote. Following that, the Jaguars' victory. This exchange prompted a member of the 49ers media to ask head coach Kyle Shanahan who could take Robert Saleh in the hypothetical fight, when Shanahan said himself that the reporter mentioned Dan Campbell. So Shannon gave a humorous response indicating that Dan Campbell matches up well against many, while also quipping that Saleh is too nice. Here's the quote. Yeah, I would probably bet on Dan over a lot of people. Saleh's too nice, usually. Seems like someone struck a chord the other day, but I don't think there's any fights going on. It's kind of comical looking back on it. When Kyle Shanahan was asked which NFL coach could beat up Robert Saleh, he said, quote, just me. I'd probably bet on Dan Campbell over a lot of people. So funny stuff, man. Dan Campbell in his lats, which Ben Johnson is so trying to build right now. Trying to be that imposing individual. He needs to put some risers in his shoes, though. That's what Ben Johnson needs. He needs some risers. No shot at the shorter people, or the gravity-stricken, whatever you want to call it. But yeah, Ben Johnson, he's out there. I don't know what he's doing. Maybe he's eating too much juicy fruit. Pun intended. Anyway, move on from that. NFC North reports next. We'll be right back.
It's game time, Detroit, and you found the right place for the latest Detroit Lions news. So hop on in and take the ride to Super Bowl 60 with Rocked On Detroit Lions. Join Will Rock, Eric Rintamaki, and Riley O'Brien today on the Rise and Grind Morning Show. Good morning.
All right, we're going to bring in Tim Twentyman like we always do every week. We try to highlight a little bit about what he's talking about and what he thinks is going on. And so he's got this article called Where All Four Teams Stand Heading into Week 5, NFC North. So excellent work by Tim Twentyman as usual, and which means I didn't have to put any work in to talk about what's going on with all four teams. So let's just roll right through it. I probably should have put it up on the screen, honestly. All right, so Detroit record 3-1, Week 4 result. Obviously, the Lions beat the Browns 34-10. Offensive rank, Lions are 6th, 365 yards per game. Defensive rank, the Lions are 11th, 293 yards per game. I'm going to stop there. There was a guy, I don't remember his name, but he said that the Lions this season could potentially have the best defense we've ever seen, ever in my lifetime. That was me. We are at a position right now that we have not been in a very long time. Starting out the season at the end of the first quarter as the 11th ranked defense. I mean, come on. You if you would have told me a season ago that the Lions would have been here today, I would have said you probably got up on the wrong side of the bed and hit your head. Because it just wasn't looking like that after all the injuries. But when the Lions brought back all those players and put an emphasis on continuing, with cohesion, right? Keeping the same guys in place because they were playing at such a high level until everybody got injured. I started to believe, right? And after I went to training camp, I saw it, firsthand that this defense was different. They still needed a lot of work, right? They still needed to work on the cohesion. But this defense is different. And it's all levels of the defense. This linebacker group, probably one of the best linebacker groups we've had in Detroit in over a decade. I mean, we are good down to the sixth linebacker. All of them are really good. Bringing in Cunningham was a much smarter move than I thought at the beginning. Wasn't just to put the pressure on Alex Anzalone. Because if that were the case, once he decided to sign, then you would think that maybe Cunningham wouldn't be around. No, they brought in Cunningham because the dude's an absolute dog in the run game. Because he's a tackle master, man. This defense is special. It really is. Yeah, we took a couple of hits with injuries already. And hopefully those will pan itself out over the next few weeks. But you get those guys back and you continue to stack games like they've been doing. This defense is going to be a top 5, I think, by the end of the season. But even as a top 10, that's enough to win a Super Bowl. It's better than last year, the year before, and the year before that. The best defense that we've had so far, without looking at any of the metrics or the numbers, but the way that they were playing, that 2022 defense at the end of the season, the way that they were playing, nobody wanted to see that team. Nobody did. But statistically, this is a much better defense, what we're seeing right now. And depth-wise, this is a much better defense. Key stat, Jared Goff, 113 passer rating through Detroit's first 4 games. He's thrown for 929 yards with 9 touchdowns and only 2 interceptions. Only Lamar Jackson's 130.5 has a higher rating than Goff this season. The difference? Goff's winning games. A quotable by, who was this? Khalif Raymond. Hold on. No, I'm sorry, Dan Campbell says, I thought our defense set the tone for the day. Those 3 takeaways, Khalif Raymond on the punt return, and offensively, we were able to turn those 3 takeaways into 17 points, which was huge. Look, in the grand scheme of things, coming off of a big win on Monday night, short week, come out, find a way to close, and play really good defense. I was proud of the guys for that. Tim Twentyman says the Lions are rolling after their third straight victory. And what Lions fans should be most excited about is they are getting contributions from all three phases. The Lions lead the league in sacks with 14. Wait. Hold on. What did I just say? Oh, hold on. The Lions are leading it. There's no way we have than everybody else, right? How are we leading in sacks? Didn't we need like three $40 million guys in the preseason? In the offseason? We've needed everybody from Crosby, Garrett, Hendrickson, Phillips. Who am I missing? Oh, everybody else. Everybody. We're good. They're second in sacks allowed, only 3 on the season, which that is, to me, is the most important fact or stat, is only allowing 3 sacks through 4 games. And they have one of the better return and cover units on special teams. A team that could win in 3 different ways on any given Sunday is a very dangerous team, and I do believe that myself. Obviously, up next, we're playing Cincinnati, which is, this team is just a shell of what it used to be. Without Joe Burrow, this team's probably not going to win any games the rest of the year. They might edge one out. I haven't looked at their full schedule. But this, they could shock a team. I'm hoping that it's not the Lions. I'm not believing in this hype of, any sort of a trap door for the Lions. I don't believe it. Green Bay. Green Bay's 40-40 tie with Dallas. Pitiful. Why are we having ties in the NFL? Like, these guys are pros, man. Like, finish the freaking game. Let them go another quarter. Figure out a way to do something to have 1 point more than the other. I don't know. Do like soccer does. Do a kickoff or do a field goal challenge. Start at a 50-yarder and keep going back 3 yards until somebody misses. Do that. At least. Do something. But ties are stupid in the NFL. And yes, I would rather see it won by a stupid field goal than a tie. Green Bay's offense is ranked 10th in the league right now. Their defense is ranked 8th. So very, very close to what the Lions are right now. The Lions, again, are 6th on offense, 11th on defense. My question for you guys is, do you believe we have a better defense than the Packers right now? We haven't let 40 points up. Key stats for the Packers. They are the second best offense in the NFL on third down, converting on 53.7%, 29 of 54 of their third down attempts on the season. Defensively, Green Bay ranks 3rd on third down, limiting opponents to just 32.7%, 18 for 55 conversion rate. Now, I do have all of those stats to compare to, which, maybe I'll run through it at the end of the day. A quote by Matt LaFleur. They made some big plays. They executed. We missed a lot of tackles. And says we've got to find a way somehow, some way to generate some takeaways. Probably shouldn't have spent $47 million on Parsons. Maybe you should have went out and grabbed a couple of corners that can play. Tim Twentyman said this after starting the season with 2 impressive victories over Detroit and Washington. The Packers are now 0-1-1 in their last 2 against Cleveland and Dallas. Cleveland. They lost to Cleveland. It's hard to get an early gauge on Green Bay, given how good they've played in a couple of games and how inconsistent and just flat out trash, in my opinion, they've played the last 2 games. It's a very young roster, the youngest in the NFL, so the expectation is they'll continue to grow and get better as the year goes on. Minnesota, 2-2. Offensive rank, 22nd. Defensive rank, they are 7th. They have a nasty defense over there, but they can't find ways to score, even though they barely lost by just 3 points. Carson Wentz is dialing it up, man. That was probably one of the smartest moves that the Vikings could have made, is making sure that they brought in a key veteran to back up J.J. McCarthy. The Vikings lead the NFL with 37.8% of their offensive drives resulting in 3 and out. That's not a stat you want to own, right? through 4 games, 37.8% of their drives end in a 3-and-out. That's terrible. They've had 17 of their first 45 offensive drives of the year result in a 3-and-out. For comparison, the Indianapolis Colts have had only 3 drives this season resulting in a 3-and-out to lead the NFL at just 7.9%. I will say comparatively, when you just look at the numbers, it's a stark contrast. If you look a little bit deeper and kind of get beyond it, take a look at the games, what's happening, why are they in less third down opportunities? Why are they getting more first downs on second down? And that'll tell the rest of the story. But just looking at the numbers, yeah, it's pretty impressive. But you have to get underneath it a little bit and figure out why they're able to stay away from third downs or get into another first down. And some of that's field position too. Like if you have better field position, you can do a little bit of a different style of offense to start. Tip 20 Man says the Vikings are strong defensively, but continue to get inconsistent play from the quarterback position. I just have this vivid picture over the weekend of Carson Wentz looking over to the sideline and go, "What do you want me to do?" And they took a delay of game. It was hilarious. Like he didn't even know. I mean, come on, Carson, you've been in the league how long? Go run a play. You can't take a delay of game in that position, but that's why they lost that game. The Vikings have a ton of weapons on both sides of the football, and the head coach believes it is one of the best in the league. But unless they start to get consistent play from the quarterback position, 7 giveaways in 4 games, it's going to be hard to compete with the elite teams in the NFC. Chicago, I'm glad he put Chicago last. 2-2. They beat the Raiders 25-24. Offensive rank, they're 18th. Their defense is 28th. Key stat for the Bears, their second-year wide receiver, Rome Odunze, has gone 4 consecutive games to start the season scoring a touchdown. The most by a Bears player since the Hall of Fame running back Walter Payton did back in 5 contests in 1986. So Bears watch for this week. Will Rome, actually, I don't think the Bears are playing this week. But when they have their next game, will he go 5 in a row? Will he match the Walter Payton record? Tim 20 Men says the Bears are finding ways to win games while growing in Johnson's new schemes, offensively and defensively. That's important because they're going to continue to settle in and should get more consistency, especially on offense. The more time on task this season. Chicago has allowed the 3rd most points in the NFL, 117, and the 5th most yards. They've given up 1,518 yards already this season. And they do have a bye this week, so we won't see the Bears in week 5. Okay. Let's wind back for just a moment. I'm trying to get through some of your chat messages here to see if there's anything I missed. Okay. Robbie says, Will said it best. Benny finding out that the grass isn't greener on the other side. Chicago's not the same culture. Chicago's not the same chemistry. Chicago's not built like we are. I don't remember saying all of that, but I probably did. I definitely said the grass isn't greener, right? I definitely said that. And they definitely don't have the same culture. They don't have Dan Campbell, man. They don't have Brad Holmes. They don't have the plethora of really good football minds and guys that really care. Quite honestly, they don't have a Chris Spielman, right? Every team wishes they had a Chris Spielman. They don't have one. They don't have one. How impressed are you guys with the Lions being? You ad-lib a little. That's all good. How impressed are you with the Lions with 14 sacks right now? Now, I know that there's some people out there that are saying, oh, don't believe in the hype. Don't believe in the hype. You know, honestly, this game this weekend against the Bengals, this should be a game that we should pounce. It should be. And I guess I'm a little bit concerned at the energy, you know, against the Browns, that it just seemed like we dialed it way back. In a game that you should really pressure, get after the quarterback, a statue. Why didn't we get after the guy? We got a couple of sacks, yeah, but if you really cared about the stats, they could have really dialed it up against Flacco. And they didn't. This is another game against Browning that the Lions should be able to really take it to them defensively. Now, we are going to have some issues on the back end, right? I mean, DJ Reed's out. Who knows about Terry and Arnold? Likely out. So there is an issue there. And anytime you're going up against some really good wide receivers, the Lions have a couple of holes right now that could be detrimental in this game, which would mean that you probably have to relax a little bit up front. I'll get in more of that. I'll talk more about that as I get into the keys of the game, probably tomorrow. But the keys of the game usually doesn't come out until Saturdays. I like to take my sweet time. I put a lot of energy and time into it to really dissect what I feel is going to go on in the game. So far, I mean, throughout the season, we've hit pretty well on the keys of the game, dissecting what the team is going to do or have pretty good pulse on what they're going to do. I know some people utilize that stuff to try to figure out, you know, what they're going to do on bets. Please don't. Like, please don't. Like, the things that I say, yeah, they might be factually correct, but don't bet on it. I don't want to be responsible for that. Anyway, tonight, Gripes and Hype. It has a start time, I believe, of 4 o'clock. The goal is to try to get it done early this week. I have some things that I need to get done. Let me just double check what time I put it out. And I'm saying this now because I would really like to get some more messages into the mailbag. Now, I will not share your information. I won't tell people who said what or who's asking what unless you want me to. But today, Gripes and Hype is at 4 p.m. Probably going to stick to that time. So if you can't make it, you can't make it. I understand. At least get your mailbag questions in, and I'll be more than happy to go through them and try to answer them. But if I don't get them before like 2 p.m. today, it's really hard for me to develop some sort of a response. Post-game show, at this point, I do have a wedding to go to this weekend, so I will be missing the game or portion of. You know, I'll be watching from my phone at the wedding. You know darn well I will be. But post-game show will happen, at least, for sure. I was hoping to go to this game, but it's not going to happen. If I don't go to the wedding, I'll be in the doghouse. Lions do or die 92 vet says, I'm not worried about the secondary unless somebody else gets hurt. Cincinnati are one of the bottom barrel weak teams. The Lions should rest starters. Yeah, Cruz, and I don't think that they're ever going to do that. Attila, I used to do a betting show. So last year I was doing fantasy football. We were doing some bets and that. And the fantasy football show was just not, well, one, we started way late into the season. Maybe next year we'll bring that in. Honestly, I've got so much on my plate right now. It's hard for me to even get out all the content that I want to get out. Like yesterday, I didn't do anything because I was so busy with all of this other stuff. Like these sheets that I built are so massive, but now that they're almost finally done, the one is done. It makes things so much easier for me, you know, so I don't have to research. I just click a link and I'm right into it, and I can start, you know, talking about something. I can find stats a lot quicker. So if there's something that comes up during a show and we need a stat quickly, it's right there. Just trying to make things more efficient, you know, kind of like our our offense and defense. They need to be efficient. I need to be efficient at what I do. I love efficiency. I'm a bit OCD with efficiency. Not that I have OCD, I don't, but it's just a term, I guess. Okay, up next, let's see what else we have on the sheet today. Let's see. We did the NFC North report. Let's do this. We haven't heard from Alex Anzalone in a while, and so I want to bring him in. Let's listen to what Alex had to talk about, or had to say about the performance this last weekend. I got to tell you, after watching the film again, I was so impressed with our linebackers. The way that they were filling gaps and filling the lanes and just playing, horizontal football and getting down to find the ball carrier, like they did an excellent job against the Browns. I mean, Judkins he's a potent running back. He's going to be special. If the Browns give him an offensive line, that dude's going to be crazy good. What a pickup by the Browns. Be that as it may, the Lions kind of had their handful with Judkins in this game. And the linebackers did an excellent job at containing, and corralling him a little bit. He gashed us a few times, but they did an excellent job. I am really impressed by the linebacker play. I'm not as impressed right now with Derek Barnes. I know that Dan Campbell absolutely loves Derek Barnes, and so does Calvin, obviously. I'm just not as impressed with his ability to get after the passer yet. I haven't seen enough. I don't care about the stats. I just haven't seen enough in coverage either. I could be totally wrong. My eyes are different than yours. I'm not as impressed yet. And I think he'll get there. I think he's a damn good football player. I just want to see more. I really do. I'm really impressed with Jack Campbell. Oh, I did it again. There's 10 more push-ups. I'm really impressed with Jack. This dude was getting double teamed out in the second level on run plays. They were sending out two guys often to go get after Jack. In the way that he would shed some of these blocks and then get downhill and get to the running back, just impressive stuff. Jack he's a rare athlete. He's a rare linebacker. And Brad Holmes obviously knew what he was doing when he was making this pick. I just want him to add another one. I want him to add another linebacker, which they're probably going to have to do next year anyway, with this whole Alex Anzalone thing. I know that Alex said he wants to finish his career out to be a Lion. I just don't see how you can pay him, $10, $12, $13 million a year. I don't see that working out. I see the Lions drafting another linebacker before they pay Alex any sort of an extension, which sucks because I really like Alex. I think he's a hell of a football player. I think he's a pretty solid dude. And, it is what it is. I mean, those are the things that we have to deal with, right? You end up having to move on to, with some of your players over time. And he's going to be one of them, I think, next year. Let me get his video loaded up. All right, here we go. Alex Anzalone. And talking about the coverage and playmaking abilities of this defense.
Obviously, that's not the way you want to start a game. It's 4 straight weeks. But to bounce back the way you guys did, what does it say about this unit?
Yeah, we settled in. Obviously, it's a point of emphasis for us, and we're 0-4, getting a stop on the first drive, and that's something that has to improve, especially in bigger games than today. So, we were able to settle in and kind of get after it after that. But that's definitely be a point of emphasis going forward.
You're going to drive your defensive coordinator crazy if you can't get a stop on first down.
Trust me, I know. We can hear about it tomorrow, so we want to stop hearing about it. So we got figured out.
Individual performance, sack. You got targeted a couple times in coverage, a couple breakups. You're so far into your career. Do these still give you confidence? Are they motivating when you have a day like today?
I mean, yeah, it's I don't know really. I just feel like I'm still able to make a ton of plays. Obviously, coverage is my thing, and able to fly around, and God's blessed me, so I'm still making plays. Anyone else?
When
you keep going, Justin.
Yeah, I mean, look, the secondary took some hits today. You guys went through this last year where it's just like attrition after attrition, but how tough is it to kind of stay up and stay motivated when you lose 2 cornerbacks in the midstream?
Yeah, I feel like the good thing is we have depth, like veteran with Avante and Rock and even Dorsey coming in, Amit coming in at corner. It's just like guys coming in, and I think I went to the sideline when Kirby went down, and Avante came in. And I was telling Derek, like, I feel great with Avante out there too. Like, so obviously we have that veteran depth, and it's important going forward. And hopefully some of these injuries aren't too serious. So.
All right, it was a short one, but obviously, Alex Anzalone is he's playing at a pretty good level right now. A little bit, worried about the injuries. He's hoping that it's not going to be too long. But I want to remind people what happens when. I want to remind people what happens when you start to lose levels of your defense. So there's been this conversation about Terrion Arnold and, his slow start and not developing, not playing to the level, not playing to the standard. And now that and now that he's out, and now that DJ Reed is out, now you're going to see a lot more stress on the linebackers. So this game, even though it is Cincy and they're struggling right now at the quarterback level and a lot of other levels defensively and everything else, you can lose control of this game quickly if the Lions don't bring the right emphasis at the right levels, especially since we're going to have some new guys in the DB room. When you start to lose guys, when you start to lose guys in the DB room, now these linebackers are going to have to spread out a little bit more. They're going to have to drop back into coverage. We're probably going to be in more of a zone. I would expect that we're going to be in a little bit more of a zone. Then again, Calvin Shepard's been extremely aggressive. Maybe he doesn't. It's not what I would do, but I would put us into more of a zone to give the linebackers a little bit more help. It would obviously give your DBs a lot more help, that you've got 2 guys over top, kind of in that smothering scheme, whether it's cover 2 or cover 3, so that maybe you don't get beat downfield consistently in this game. Because, let's be real. You've got Chase. Browning has an arm. He's going to find him. And if you don't have the right guys in the right position or the right defense called, this game you can lose control. A couple of quick strikes, man, and that's 7 points. So I'm a little bit concerned that, when you start to lose guys, how are the Lions going to fill it or backfill it, I should say? What are they going to do to stay ahead of it for the next 4 to 6 weeks? No idea how long Reed's going to be out. But how are they going to stay ahead of it? What are they going to do defensively? And that's going to be a big change, I think. Honestly, if I'm going to put this out there, I'm going to put it out there. I think the Lions are going to totally change what they're going to be doing over the next 4 to 6 weeks. It's not going to look the same as what it did in the beginning, the first 4 weeks. And you almost have to do that. Dan kind of alluded to that on 97.1, that they're going to, have to change a few things, right? They're not going to, put these guys in a position to lose. What did he say? What was the exact quote? Spread the load. And to me, when you spread the load, I think that's more of a zone look. Because if you stay in a man scheme and you go man heavy, when you're down your number 1 corner and what was supposed to be your number 2, yeah, I think staying in man is going to hurt you. And I don't care who the quarterback is. It's an NFL quarterback. They're going to gash you. They're going to find a way to beat you. I'm not saying that our backup DBs aren't great. Look, I think Amik Robertson is fantastic. But he's only one, and he's going to have Chase. Right? Chase isn't injured right now, right? I haven't seen anything. I don't think he's injured. He did have a really bad week last week, but he was frustrated as all get out in this game. But you have Jamar Chase on this team, and you're going to have to put somebody on him. You're going to have to bracket this guy. Amik Robertson on Jamar Chase is going to be a hell of a fight. It will be. But you almost have to bracket him no matter what anyway, even if you had DJ Reed in there. So it'd be interesting to see what they do. But I played a little bit of the Alex thing because, he was talking about potentially missing some guys. Let's get into the next one. A couple more movies here for us. A couple more videos. Which, since we're talking about DBs, we're going to have to bring in old Mr. Amik here, man. I love Amik Robertson, one of my favorite players. I might finally have to get one of his jerseys. Not that I don't support guys that I don't have jerseys of, but I think he's just I think he's a special dude, man. I think he's special to this team. And I think the Lions should lock him up and give him another contract extension. All right, here we go.
There's a big game on the horizon, man. How does the team feel going into the big game on Sunday?
I'm very confident, man. Very confident. We got to defend our home. Just get the Lions fans, worth for their money. You know what I'm saying? Go out there, score a lot of touchdowns, come out there with a lot of energy. So, I expect it to be a good one.
Huge win Monday night and everything, How close is this team coming together, in the early weeks of the season?
The crazy thing about it, we're not even close to where we want to be at. We're going to continue chopping wood. We're going to continue pushing each other each and every week, and try to get, get a certain percentage better each and every week, man. That's the goal. Right now, we don't, like I said, we haven't been playing our best football, and we still winning. We look forward to, like I say, every week get better and better. So in the playoffs, we one of the best teams in the league.
You guys have had 3 very different weeks so far, and I feel like, it takes 3-4 weeks for a team's identity to kind of take shape. How would you describe the identity so far that's emerging here?
Definitely. Because our leader, Dan, he emphasized grit, swagger, that hard-nosed football. If you ain't got passion, if you're not passionate, man, you ain't got that swagger and you ain't gritty, like you don't belong here, So he know the ceiling for us, But like I said, we're gonna continue getting better each and every week, man. That's the goal. That's the main goal, to get better each and every week.
Sure. So you feel like you earn more stats with your play. Just how is it as a vet to continue to just keep doing what you're doing and just being ready for the opportunity when it comes?
Whenever an opportunity presents itself for me, man, if I'm being honest, I always kick the door in, man, each and every time. Every time an opportunity presented itself for me, I always kick the door in, but until, I just kind of practice each and every day, man, help the younger guys, help myself, because I'm still an open book. I'm still learning. That's why I call myself Live Fish, because I still got room to improve, still got room to elevate. So I just come in here every day, man, try to improve, man. If I make mistakes, I try to learn from them. And once I go out there game day, I try to be Chris. I know it's not going to be perfect, but I try to do my best to help the team. I just try to be a great teammate overall.
It does seem like you're in line for a bigger role on Sunday. What can fans expect to see out of you on Sunday afternoon?
Bigger role, Robertson, man. It's when I'm out there, man, I play with a lot of passion, man. Especially when I'm on the road, I play with a lot of passion, because it's a gift and a blessing to be able to be on the field, be a part of this great team, great organization. So the moment, 2-1 step on the field, man, just expect a lot of energy, a lot of passion, and even if and when I make a play, it's gonna get even worse, So just expect a lot of swagger. That's something that I bring. I feel like I bring it to the table, a lot of swagger and a very confident individual.
Hey, did you guys see AG's dance down the sideline last week?
I was weak, bro. I was weak, but I saw his interview too. AG's a great leader, man. What I took from AG. When he was here, he always told me, because I always think about making those splash plays. I always grew up doing that. And AG told me, man, like, you don't have to be the whole puzzle, man. Just be the piece of it. Because when you got a lot good players around, you don't have to do much. Just do your job, be yourself within the scheme, man. The game is going to come to you, and I stick by that now.
Absolutely love the last thing that he was talking about there with AG. Just be a piece, man. You don't have to be the whole puzzle. You don't have to go out there and make every play. And if you wind back a few seasons ago and you watch Alex Anzalone in the very beginning, with this team, I think it was 22-ish. Maybe it was he here 21 or was he here 22? But either way, in the beginning of when this team started to build, you could tell, and I've said this a few times, you could tell that his head was just spinning, right? Because he had to worry about all these other guys that are young. We had some of the youngest teams in the league 2 years in a row, and he had to get all these guys in the right position to win. They were playing terribly. A lot of guys lined up wrong, not playing to the scheme, just not seeing the field well. In the moment, part of the problem is because of the DBs. Aubrey Pleasant back then had the DBs doing something totally different schematically than what AG had the guys doing up front. And so that miscommunication caused a lot of problem. The minute that Pleasant was let go, and I think it was week 6, that, man, this defense just started to come alive. And immediately you could tell Alex Anzalone could let his hair down and finally start to play. They removed, a lot of, that's what they said. They removed a lot of garbage from the playbook, right? They just let him go play some football. So they toned it back a little bit, and it just allowed these guys to do what they do best. And when you're able to do that, when your playmakers are able to play free, when they're able to play fast, that's when you start to see exciting plays getting made. But you'll start to see big plays. You'll start to see a defense that starts to come together. And I swear, the more times the Lions dial it back, they play better. It's when they have so much involved in these game plans. I feel like it's too much sometimes, because they don't play as well. Eventually, when they can put it all together, yeah, it'll probably work great. But I like this team when they're doing less. I like this team when they're just doing the minimum, as far as game planning, and it really elevates the play, I believe. At least that's what I've noticed. Let's break down what Amik just said. This video, by the way, was after the Ravens game, but I had to dip back into this, video vault on the DetroitLions.com because Amik he's such a special guy. He really is. He's everything that Detroit Lions want. I mean, he feels like he's just been a part of Detroit his whole life. He really he comes across that way. But talking about the identity of this team, the question or the statement was it usually takes 3-4 weeks to kind of see what this identity is going to be. I don't necessarily believe in that, but he does talk about Dan Campbell being the leader of the pack, and setting the tone, getting everybody to understand and believe in what the identity of this team is. He talks about grit, and talks about if you don't have the swagger, if you don't have the grit, if you don't have the mentality, you probably shouldn't be here, right? You shouldn't be here. For me, the identity was already set. Like, they know who they're supposed to be. The culture is already there. They know who they're supposed to be. They've been building this for years. What Amik does is I think that he elevates it just a little bit more. Like he said, he brings the swagger. He brings the energy on every play. He wants to make those splash plays, but more so, they want to get it right. They want to get it right. They want to play to their strengths. He wants to make all these big splash plays, but AG dialed him back and said, man, just be that piece. And I think that that's what Amik is doing right now. He's just playing his role. And when you have 11 guys on a football field and each one has a role, in a slot to fill, and they're able just to do their job. You hear the coaches say that all the time. Just do your job. And you just do your job, right? Don't worry about what's going on around you. Focus on your job and what's in front of you. Everything will work out. The minute you start worrying about everybody else, that's when things start to fall apart. Circa Alex Anzalone, weeks 5 through 1 in 2022. He worried about everybody else. So I wanted to bring these two things back up and talk about them because now opportunity presents itself for Amik Robertson. It's what he was just talking about in this video, that when the opportunity presents itself, he'll be there, man. He'll meet it head on. And so Amik is going to have a big-time job this week. More than likely, he is going to be up on Jamar Chase. That is a huge matchup. I don't know if he's ever gone against Jamar Chase in his previous seasons. I have no idea. I'm going to look into it and see if he has and see how well he did. But we do know that he went up against Justin Jefferson and completely locked him down last year. So Amik can play some lockdown football. So I'm less concerned with that aspect of his game. Amik is our leader in this DB room for the corners right now until we get DJ Reed and Terry and Arnold back. And even then, like I've always viewed Amik as one of the leaders in that room. He brings a different energy. He brings a special energy, and he's the right guy for this team. I don't know what Brad's waiting for, man. You better go give this guy another 2 or 3 year contract because he has plenty of gas in the tank, and he's playing at a high level. Has been ever since he's landed here. Trace had a question. Elevations. Who do I think is going to get elevated this week? It's a great question. Honestly, let's think about that for a moment. Let me bring it up. Let's take a look at our roster. We don't really have a whole lot of guys that... I'm more worried about the scratches. Like, who are we going to scratch this week? Okay, so on the practice squad, if we're looking at the holes that we have to fill, if we're looking at some holes, I mean, I could see where the Lions are probably going to bring up Eric Hallett. I would say he'll be an elevation. And you might see Brian Branch roll back down to nickel. I would say that's likely. I don't know what's going on with like Kirby. I don't know how his knee's doing. We'll find out today around 4 p.m. on how these guys are looking for the week. And I think that'll usually give me the indicator, at least for the rest of the week, of where to pay attention to and what guys could potentially be called up. But I think Eric Hallett might be the only one. You might see Lauren Strickland get called up, and the possibility is there simply because you could be down 2. Right, so if you're down 2 DBs, you got to bring 2 up. You're not going to go to the game down 2 or even down 1. You have to bring some guys up, unless they're going to change things schematically, where maybe they bring up an extra linebacker. But there could be another linebacker that gets brought up if Zach Cunningham is still not able to play. So I would say Eric Hallett at a minimum. I wouldn't be surprised if they bring up Lauren Strickland. And I don't think that they would bring in Trey Flowers this early. They could, but I don't know. I don't know that they would bring him in this early and not roll with the guys that have been with us through camp. I mean, he would just be a body. You know, he would be that safety valve, I guess. But you only have 48 guys that you're going to bring in. So they have to get the right 48 because all of them play. You know, pretty much all of them play in the game. Whether it's special teams or offense, defense, whatever. But I would say Eric Hallett is the number one option this week. And I would not be surprised if... Honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if Ty Summers gets brought up if Zach Cunningham's down. Ty knows enough of this defense. He knows enough of these guys. And I think he'd play okay. But I'd be on the lookout for Eric Hallett. Attila the Hun says he liked Nick Whiteside. Hey, I thought that he was playing good too. I don't even know where he's at. I don't know if he got picked up or what, but he's not on our roster, so he definitely won't be up. At least, you know, so there you go, Attila. Like, why didn't we go out and find and bring back Nick Whiteside versus bringing in another guy? Trey Flowers. Why did the Lions opt for that? So, did Nick Whiteside go back to... Did he go back to the UFL? I don't know. I really don't know. I'd have to dig into that one. I don't know where he went or where he is today. But anyway, Gripes and Hype, man, let's get it rocked out today around 4 o'clock. And would appreciate any of the messages or any of the statements or any of the questions, anything that you guys want to talk about later on this afternoon. It's going to be a good show. We've got a lot of questions in there already, but we need some more. We definitely, I like to get through about 10. It's tough to get through 10 in an hour, but I at least like to have 10 because sometimes I got to weed a couple of them out. Anyway, again, it is Breast Cancer Awareness Month. Please do yourself and your loved one a favor. Reach out to somebody today, right? Say hi. Tell them you're thinking of them and make them feel better because that it does a lot for them. I promise you, it will. Just a quick, simple message, man, will make them have a much better day. Because I can tell you right now that everyone that has suffered through breast cancer is thinking about it today and every day, but especially today. There's a lot of people that have had to battle this terrible disease. But please make their day special if you could. It would mean a lot. And then again, big shout out to the Lions. They did an excellent job, with the Game on Cancer game. They gave everybody, which I forgot to bring it out again, but they gave everybody pins, and it was it was the ribbon with the Lions logo in the middle. Very, very cool pins. They've never done that before that I've seen, but they handed all those out. So excellent gesture, and can't appreciate them enough for the stuff that they do. Brady, good luck for you. Cameron Mitchell. I don't know if we did discuss him or not, but we didn't do it today. That's for sure. All right, I'm out of here. You guys take care. Go and probably go Detroit Lions. Don't forget about your raffles available at buymeacoffee.com/rocked-on. There is Isaac Tesla jerseys. There's Aiden Hutchinson. There's Jahmyr Gibbs. There's the custom Rocked On jersey. There's quite a few up for raffle, and I try to add more each week, but until we can get some of these done, which we're going to get one done today, we'll add more. So when Aiden's done today, we'll add some more each week. If there's specific raffles that you would like to get in on, let me know. Now, there's other areas that you can do these raffles, like the NFL does raffles. And I'll tell you right now that those, well, they're not raffles. They're more so auctions. To spend $10 on a ticket to get a chance at a raffle winning You can't go buy that jersey in an auction, for under a few $100s with some of these other auctions that are doing it. It's nuts. The mini helmet's the same thing. When I do raffles, we might only bring in $100 on raffles, but you can't go buy that helmet for less than $250. So think about that. If you want to put $10 or $5 to good use, some of the next raffles are only going to be $5 entries. But I did $10 this time because that way we have less entries, and that way there's, you can spread it out a little bit more. But anyway, you guys have a wonderful day, and I'll be thinking of you, Bill. Roland, man, I just see that you added that into the chat. Hopefully everything works out for you. I don't know enough about that yet, but I'll have to learn about it. But you guys take care. Go and probably go to Detroit Lions. You guys have a wonderful day. We'll see you guys later on this afternoon.
Pressured by